Let's continue our project by starting to make shot number 2. In the shot number 1, we had started by adding a decent ISS model, adjusting it, adding more details to it, and finally a dazzling animation for it. Then we continued by adding a camera and animated it the way that it seemed the space station has been animated. Finally, we wrapped everything up by making a decent, cool looking lighting system, where we went through different parameters, of which one of the coolest was the light linking trick. That I think is a great and powerful lighting trick. So if you are new here, definitely check the shot number 1, because here we are going to continue what we have started. And in this tutorial, we are going to make this shot, which is a really insane and eye-catching one. So without any further ado, let's get this going. First of all, let's disable the volume collection. Later we are going to use it. The next step is to add another part to the station, which will be working as a glassy-like corridor, which will add so much depth into our shot. So I have provided a pretty decent and high-quality corridor model for you. The link to download it will be in the description. It comes as a blend file, and it also comes with a folder which includes the textures. Then to add the model into our scene, drag the blend file and drop it into your scene. Choose Append, open the object collection, and here you can see the corridor. Select it and then Append. And there you have it in your scene. So press the / key to isolate it. Then press M, move it into a new collection and call it corridor. Fine. Next up, we should remove this railing part over here because it is not needed. So with it selected, press Tab to go into edit mode. Enable the wireframe mode, then press numpad 1 to have a view like this. And box select the railing part like so. Switch back into solid view, then press Ctrl L to select the connected vertices. Now press X and choose delete vertices. The rest is just fine. So jump back into object mode, press the / key again to exit the isolation mode. Next up, we should pick a location on the station to install the corridor, which I believe here is the best option, since it is a bit empty, and not to mention that we will get this cool look facing the assembly part. And like always, let's take advantage of the origin point and the 3D cursor. So select the corridor, press Tab to go into edit mode. Enable the face selection tool, come over here, hold down the Alt key, click on this edge to make a loop select. Then press Shift S, choose cursor to selected, which will set the 3D cursor right over here. Then go back into object mode, right click, set origin, origin to 3D cursor. Now if I press R, you can get the idea. Then select the ISS main body. Let's get over here, press Tab to go into edit mode. Choose the edge selection tool, hold down the Alt key, click on this edge to make a loop select. Then Shift S, cursor to selected. Go back into object mode, select the corridor, press Shift S, selection to cursor, which will set the origin point of the corridor exactly on the 3D cursor. Then from the toolbar menu, if you don't have it open, press T to open it. Enable the transform tool, and we should also enable the gizmo, and simply adjust the corridor in place. So something like that looks nice. Let's get inside, and here, yeah. Make sure that there is no intersection over here. So if we move it a bit, this is totally fine now. So the corridor is installed nicely in place. Now let's switch into rendered view to take a look at it. And yeah, exactly like the assembly part in the shot number 1, the textures are missing. And as you remember, I mentioned that the corridor comes with a texture folder. Now we can take advantage of that. So to fix this issue, go to File, External Data, find Missing Files. Navigate to the mentioned folder. Open the folder and just click on Find Missing Files. Wait for a few seconds, and there you have it. Now we can go ahead to adjust the camera and animate it. So select the camera, press F2, rename it to camera 2. Then in the timeline, press A to select all its keyframes, then press X to delete them. So for the shot number 2, I like to frame my camera like so. I like to have a framing like this, but we will adjust it much more. And for that, we can press Ctrl Alt and numpad 0 to frame the camera nicely in place. It already looks pretty cool, but we are going to adjust it a lot. So open a new window here and make sure it is set on 3D viewport. Exit the camera view so that we can work with this window and take a look at it over here. So in the left window, press T to close the toolbar menu, disable overlays and also the gizmo. Then press N in the view tab, enable camera to view. So that now we can adjust the camera using the mouse scroll. We have covered this part completely in the previous video, so something like this looks absolutely nice. Let's begin animating the camera. And for this shot, we are going to use a pretty weird way to animate it. Select the corridor. Its origin point is at the end of the hall, the exact location that we need. So press Shift S, choose cursor to select it. Then press Shift A. In the empty, let's add arrows. Move it a little bit if needed so that we can find it easily. Press F2 and rename it to camera locator. Then press M and move it into the camera collection. Now select the camera and go to the constraint panel. But before that, if you have problem finding the camera, go to the object panel, open viewport display and enable in front. Now it is always visible. Then let's set the scale on 2. So that it is a little bigger, and the scaling of the camera doesn't have any effect on its adjustment. It doesn't change anything. Now go to the constraint panel and give it the copy location constraint, and for the target choose the camera locator, which will take the camera exactly to the location of the camera locator. But here is the point. This influence property, a value of 1 means the entire effect of the copy location constraint. But if we decrease the influence, see what happens. The camera starts to move back to its place, and an influence of 0 means the original location of the camera. And that's how we are going to animate the camera. So make sure you are at the first frame and make a keyframe for the influence property. Then go to the last frame, which is frame 200. This shot is 200 frames, exactly like the shot 1. Hold down the Shift key and slightly increase the influence property until you get a reasonable look. I mean, the astronauts cannot move fast in space, so try to make a gentle and slow animation. Somewhere around here looks fine and also reasonable. Make another keyframe for the influence. Then, as we have talked in the previous shot, in the timeline, select all the keyframes, then press T to open the keyframes interpolation menu and set them on linear so that the camera will have a constant speed all over the timeline. Let's switch into solid view to take a look. Yeah, looking great. However, we can make it much better. We can make it look like the cameraman is actually an astronaut who is walking down the corridor looking at the assembly part and actually enjoying it. We can do that simply by adding some shakes to the camera. And for that, we can take advantage of the Camera Shakeify add-on. The link to download it will be in the description. After downloading, now to install it, go to Edit Preferences. In the Add-ons tab, open this drop-down menu and choose Install from Disk. Then navigate to where you have downloaded the add-on. Select it and then Install from Disk. Then over here, search for Camera Shakeify add-on, which is this one. Simply check this box to activate the add-on. Now to use it, select the camera and go to the camera panel. Scroll down where we have the Camera Shakeify add-on. So click on the plus icon to add a shake. Let's take a look to see what we have. The investigation, I don't really like this. So let's switch it into walk to the store. Maybe we shall see that. Yeah, this looks better, but the influence is just too much. So let's decrease it to 0.1. Fine. We can also add another shake. And for the second one, let's pick a subtle shake, like the wedding. Now it seems like The cameraman is an astronaut walking down the corridor. I really like the effect. It seems so real. By the way, you can still select the camera locator and move to adjust the camera, or even animate it, which is a really nice feature. Now let's get to the lighting part. Switch into rendered view to take a look at our lighting. But before starting to adjust the lighting, I like to select the camera and go to the camera panel where we have the focal length. 60mm was the focal length that we used for the shot 1. For this shot, I guess if we decrease our range of view a little bit, we will get a better result. So let's slightly increase that, for example 20. Yeah, I like it more now, but it totally depends on you. Let's get to the lighting. So this was the HDRI that we used for the shot number 1. For that shot, it was really suitable. However, for this shot, I guess this is not going to work the way we expect. I have provided another HDRI which will fit the scene perfectly. The link to download it will be in the description. Now to add it, switch the right window into shader editor. Set it on board so that we can adjust our lighting. So this is the simple setup we used for the first shot. By the way, I guess the Sun 2, which is this one, is not working properly. I can say that by taking a look at shadows. I'm pretty sure the sun is casting the rays over here. And there must be some shadows on this part, or this is not what I expected to have. So let's switch the right window back into 3D viewport, press N. In the side menu here, we can see the Light Helper add-on. We had applied the light linking trick to the Sun 2, so that it would only light up the objects that we like. It is totally covered in the shot number 1. So to fix that, we can remove the light linking from the Sun 2, so that it will be lighting up the entire objects of the scene. Now you can see what I mean. See this shadow? We didn't have it before. Then click on Init to apply the light linking to the Sun 2 and simply drag the ISS collection to the light linking so that the sun will be affecting them. And there you have it. Now this is the perfect lighting. See how better it is right now. And just to quickly mention what we did, the light linking provides you a very good option. You can decide which objects of the scene this Sun 2 should affect, should light up. For example, this is the assembly part. Assembly part is this circular part. If I drag the assembly collection over here, you can see they are lit up right now. And we can simply remove them from here. It is totally covered in the shot number 1 and you can take a look at it. And now the light linking is working properly. So now we can adjust our HDRI. Select the environment texture, press Ctrl T to use the Node Wrangler add-on. Then select the entire setup except for the word output. Press Shift D to make a duplicate of them and then move them down like so. Let me adjust them a little bit. Now to combine them together, Shift A, search for Mix Shader. Add it and place it after the background node. Make sure the first setup is plugged into the first shader input. Then plug the second background node into the second shader input. Set the factor on 0 for the time being. Then on the second environment texture, remove the HDRI. Click on Open and navigate to where you have downloaded the second HDRI. Select it and then open Image to add it into your scene. So nothing has actually happened, but if we increase the factor to 1, we can switch between the HDRI. That's a really nice and interesting setup. And no need to mention that this factor property can also be animated. So let's set the factor on 1 to use the second HDRI. Then start to adjust it. We should play around with the rotation on the mapping node. And let me see, it is too bright for the time being. We can get to the darker parts or where there's a nice gradient like transition between the dark and the bright parts. Yeah, this could absolutely work. This is much better now. So the next step. If we take a look over here, we can definitely notice the blank and empty space. And like I explained in the shot 1, in a space there is nothing as cloud, fog or dust. But since this is CGI, it could be really nice if we add a volume object. So unhide the volume collection where we have the fog. This time it is not needed to be this big. We only need it to cover this part of the shot. So select the cube, which is the fog, go to the object panel, open viewport display and set the display as to wire so that we can have a better look at it. Then scale it way down. Press numpad 7 to go into top view, move it towards the corridor and place it right here. Move it up and get it as much close as possible. To have an easier life, we can select both of them and press the forward slash key to isolate them, then adjust it more. Here is a very important point. Make sure there is no intersection between them, otherwise the fog will penetrate through the corridor, which will cause a bunch of problems later. So let's adjust the rotation. And then we can also go into edit mode, select the different faces and adjust them even more. So it seems like there is no intersection, which is pretty nice. Press Ctrl A to apply the scale and then exit the isolation mode. To adjust the material of the volume object, open a new window here, switch it into shader editor, set it on object. So this is the principal volume node we use to turn this cube into a fog. We should increase the density, so let's set it on 0.001. Just see how much depth it adds into your scene. And a value of 0.001 is totally enough. Then select the Sun 2. In the Light Helper add-on, pick the fog as well, so that the Sun 2 will also affect the fog. Now I guess the effect is just too much, so let's decrease the density. Divide it by 2. Is that enough or a lot? No, I guess this is fine. Yeah, so if I turn off the fog, here is without fog and here is with fog. This is absolutely better. And here is a tip. In the previous shot, we talked about the resolution and the frame rate. Another thing that is worth mentioning, and it will highly help to the realism of your scene, is to go to the render panel, scroll down and enable motion blur. So that's the end of the shot number 2 and see you in the next one.